There's been a meltdown, not over a military operation, not over war, defense deals, or national security, though there has been so much of that this month, hasn't there? But over the army chief, our army chief, visiting a religious leader while he was in uniform. General Upendra Dwivedi, chief of the Indian Army, visited Jagadguru Ram Bhadracharya at his ashram in Chitrakoot last month. This week, he was seen at Kedarnath. In both cases, the army chief was in uniform, and that single fact has triggered sections of the military veteran community and a band of predictable commentators into declaring the visits as unbecoming, inappropriate, or even politically loaded. Now let's take a breath here. This is not a debate about protocol, it's about perception. And frankly, it's also, I have to say, about hypocrisy. Because if we are truly offended by a military uniform being seen at a religious place, then we've either forgotten how the Indian Army functions or we're being selectively outraged. Everyday soldiers, officers, and generals too attend religious ceremonies across faiths, across regions, across units, including the army chief himself. Gurudwaras in Punjab, churches in the northeast, temples in Sikkim, mosques in Kashmir. The regimental system is built on respect for faith. Sarva Dharm Sthal is not a slogan, it's present in the Indian Army. So what's the big deal if the Indian Army chief visits one place of worship wearing his uniform? It's a daily ritual for so many. Why the selective outrage when the army chief does it openly, in public, without hiding it, and in a uniform that he has earned over decades? Why are people being so defensive about the uniform? Let's be clear. Nobody is above criticism, not even the chief. But let's not wrap this up as some sanctimonious debate on military decorum when it reeks of something far more insidious, in my view. An attempt to paint everything in shades of this shadow of majoritarianism. This isn't about uniforms and shrines. It's about the assumption that anything connected to a particular religion space, in this case the Hindu space, especially when in uniform, is somehow a coded political message. That is not only unfair, in my view, it's dangerous. Would the outrage be the same if pictures emerged of the army chief attending Eid prayers or a church service while in uniform in Nagaland or Mizoram? Because those images actually do exist. These are the ones that have come out in public, and nobody blinked then. There are so many other generals, as you can see in these pictures, who've attended religious ceremonies of all persuasions. And none of those should offend anyone either, because this is the Indian Army. So let's call this what it is, this selective outrage. It is not about protocol. It is not about heritage. It is not about ethos. It is about discomfort with the possibility of a narrative. Discomfort that has chosen the army chief as the latest target. In a country that survived a massive attempt at religious division in Pahalgam just a few weeks ago, the least we can do is not let our insecurities divide the idea of military service. Criticize the chief if you must, but do not be surprised when your hypocrisy is also being called out like I am doing tonight. This is not about defending uniforms, it's about defending common sense. And I'm joined tonight by Lieutenant General KJS Tiny Dhillon, former 15 Corps commander. He also retired as the chief of the Defense Intelligence Agency. General Dhillon, welcome. Good to see you back on the show. I did see your tweet a little earlier today, where you were taking on one particular person who had a problem with the chief wearing his uniform and visiting Kedarnath and Chitrakoot. And you posted some pictures of yourself and you said, where is the rule book that says no to this? Why did you say that, sir? What is your view?
Good evening, Shiv, and good evening to your viewers. First of all, I must say, I generally don't comment on politics and religion. And this subject today, I am commenting on it, or I am being part of the conversation with you, taking it as a military subject and not a political or a religious subject. I commented on this when a particular chap said that people in uniform should not visit temples, or temple is not the place to go to in uniform. So I said, where is the rule book? Then I posted some pictures of my own, starting from my commanding officer days right up to my corps commander days. I said, it is a norm in the military that uniform is extension of your body. Uniform is what you wear with pride. Uniform is not to be politicized. Uniform is to be worn with pride. And if I go into a temple or a gurdwara or a masjid or a church, uniform is the least of the botheration for anyone. The commanding officer in the Paltan leads the Mandir parade irrespective of his religion. I, as a commanding officer who is a born Sikh, have led all the pujas in my unit, all the havans in my unit, all the Janmashtami pujas in my unit. And, no one had any issue with that. A Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian in a Sikh regiment will lead the Gurdwara parade. And it's a parade. When it's a parade, you are supposed to be in uniform.
Yeah.
They are war cries of the better regiments. Like my regiment, the Rajputana Rifles, has a war cry of Raja Ramchandra ki Jai. Sikh regiment will have a, Bole So Nihal, Sat Sri Akal. Somebody will have Jwala Mata ki Jai. Somebody will have Chhatrapati Shivaji ki Jai. So, religion is very much part of the military when it comes to war fighting. Every post I say, which may have only 10 people on the holding that post, will have a mandir depending on the religion of the troops, or a Gurdwara Sahib, or a small little church, if whatever is the faith of the Jawans. So I don't know why this debate, and that too from a person, actually I don't know him, but who has got nothing to do with the military. Someone has commented that he's a army veteran's son. Then he should know it well. As a kid, he would have gone to the mandir or a gurdwara or a masjid in the unit along with his dad. And here I want to ask a question to each and every veteran and a serving soldier, JCO or an officer. Anyone, even one person in this whole community of veterans and serving, if he can say that I have never been to a mandir or a masjid or a gurdwara or a church in uniform, I would go by his word. We don't even realize that we are in uniform because uniform is part of my body.
Yeah.
There's no way this, and I have a statement to make here. If you have an agenda, political or otherwise, please go and play it somewhere else. Please don't involve the defense forces. Leave us alone. That's my humble request to anyone who is trying to peddle an agenda based on politics or his biases or whatever reasons.
General David,
leave the defense forces out.
I agree with you on the, I don't think anybody should be defensive about the uniform. The uniform is a part of you. If you want to go somewhere, whether it is a church or a masjid or a temple or a gurdwara or anything, why not wear your uniform and go? And I'm sure the Indian Army Chief has been to all places of worship of all different faiths as the Army Chief. This picture has come out, it's gone viral, and we know for what reasons it may have gone viral in this manner. But some critics would say, General Dillon, and I want your view on that, they will say that, religious ceremonies within the unit are one thing, and such visits are something else, and they are quite different. What would you say to such people?
In Indian culture or in our religious beliefs, we say, Kan Kan mein Bhagwan hai. That means each and every piece of mud on this earth has the Creator's presence. Then how do you differentiate between a place of worship on a post with 10 men or a place of worship outside the military? Bhagwan to Bhagwan hai na, he is omnipresent. I can't have two rules to, worship my God. I have to be very balanced when I worship my God. The religion of my troops is my religion when I am with the troops. Like Army Chief has troops who belong to all the faiths. And for him, every faith prevalent in India or in the Indian Army is his religion. So I don't know why people comment like this. Either they lack the basic knowledge of the military way of life, or they just have a very deep bias and agenda.
And also,
because I can say again, not a single veteran or serving person can say he has never been to a mandir or a masjid or a gurdwara in uniform ever in his life. We all have been. We all have been. Our children, our wives, our relatives, whosoever are close ones, have also gone with us. By the way, in my unit, which I commanded, the promotion used to happen in the mandir.
Yeah.
मंदिर में पंडित जी थाली लेके आते थे, पुराने रैंक्स उतार के नए रैंक्स थाली में से लेके उसके ऊपर तिलक लगा के और पंडित जी मंत्र पढ़ते थे और अफसर की प्रमोशन की जाती थी. So that is a ritual in my unit. And how can someone say that I don't go to your place of worship in uniform?
And also General Dillon, many people get the meaning of secularism wrong, I feel, especially in the context of the military. It is not about being non-religious. It is about being equal with all religions. And our army is so beautifully syncretic. There are people from all faiths, all religions in our army. The Sarv Dharm Sthal in units is representative of the fact that there is no one apex religion. We are all equal. And within the army, it becomes a symbol of that. Which is why when people attack the army chief, I am wondering, could someone have even risen to the rank of a general and become an army chief without participating in every religious function? Is it not possible?
Absolutely, Shiv. Absolutely. Now, giving my own example, Sarv Dharm Sthal you spoke about, Mandir, Masjid, Gurdwara in a common place where the formation headquarters and all, where troops from all religions are there, is a very done thing in the army. My first book, I did not have a 5-star party or anything. I just went to the war memorial, laid a wreath for the brave hearts because it was the Pulwama day, and I released my first book. My second book, which had just come out 10 days ago, I had gone to Sarv Dharm Sthal in a unit area. I take matha at every place, Mandir, Masjid, Gurdwara, church, and I released my book. Now that is the value system we have for the religions. I didn't go to only Gurdwara Sahib, okay, I'll release my book and pray to the God, let the book be a hit. I went to a Sarv Dharm Sthal because that is in my DNA. That is how I have been living my life for the last 45 years. And every soldier lives that way of life. He treats all religions equal. He has equal respect for all the religions. And by the way, before going into battle, the companies, the battalions, they go into the Mandir, Masjid or Gurdwara, offer the last prayers before going into the battle. And the war cries I have already spoken about. Each and every empty is where the vehicles are there. They are very prone to accidents, so there is a little bit of apprehension always. Every empty gate has a mandir.
Correct.
Depending on the religious troops. So every time a driver takes the vehicle out of the empty, he will take a chota sa matha at the mandir at the gate of the empty. So that the God be with me when I am driving this vehicle and the troops sitting in my vehicle for their safety. So these are small little honor codes we have. We never discuss religion in the army. We never discuss politics, but this I am taking as a military issue and trying to inform the people, your viewers, who may not be aware of the way of life of the military.
And I'm glad you said it, General, because like General Dwivedi, you've also served in the Kashmir Valley, where there are many different things that one needs to attend to. You've all been to masjids, you've all been to mosques, you've all been to religious functions there as well. When you've served in the Northeast, you've been to churches. That is what the army is all about. And as a final thought to close the discussion, let me just say by perceiving something like this as improper, all the critics should also know that maybe they are also casting aspersions on the integrity of the army. The army will never be offended looking at their chief attending a religious function in his uniform, because the uniform is a part of him. It cannot be separated from him. That's what the army is all about. General Dillon, always a pleasure.
Absolutely. I just want to, I want to reiterate a point. If you have an agenda, if you want to do politics, please, for heaven's sake, go somewhere else and do it. Leave the defense forces alone. We are very good in ourselves. We don't need your comments. We don't need your biases. We don't need your politics. Leave us alone the way we are. We are the best.
General Dillon, thank you.
Please go and do your politics somewhere else.
Thank you very much, General Dillon. Thank you very much for helping us understand this story, because we know it is a sensitive issue. There can be polarizing views as well, and we reflect all of them here on NDTV, but always good to get an officer, soldier's view on something like this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.